Hello students, I am Dr. Himanshu Kandpal, Assistant Professor English, Government MS College for Women, Bikaner. Today we are going to study in detail the poem The Face That Launched a Thousand Ships by Christopher Marlowe, included in English Literature Syllabus, BA Part 1st, MGS University, Bikaner. The poem was This the Face That Launched a Thousand Ships is from the great tragic drama Dr. Faustus by Christopher Marlowe, the famous university wits. Dr. Faustus is a typical Renaissance icon who craves for Helen, a paragon of classical beauty, and bursts into lyrical expression after seeing Helen. He is amazed by her beauty that he thinks that it justified that Greeks launched thousands of ships to recover their peerless beauty against Trojans who kidnapped Helen. He thinks it was not wrong to burn tall towers of Ilium for the sake of Helen. So we are going to begin the poem. Was this the face that launched a thousand ships and burnt the topless towers of Ilium? Sweet Helen, make me immortal with a kiss. In the beginning lines of the poem, Dr. Faustus shows his wonder. He is amazed at the beauty of Helen and he considers her as the epitome of beauty. He recalls that it was for the sake of this beautiful woman that the Greek warriors sailed across the ocean and captured the city of Troy, which they ultimately destroyed. He kisses Helen, and his ecstasy is so great that he thinks that this kiss will make him immortal. Topless towers means towers overtopping all others, or the tall buildings. Ilium means the city of Troy. Sweet Helen, make me immortal with a kiss. Here, Faustus's desire for beauty beyond human reach is a form of the soul's desire for power, no trivial thirst for pleasure, but a longing to achieve unattainable, to hold in human grasp the bliss reserved for a god. Her lips sucks forth. In the fourth line of the poem, her lips sucks forth my soul, see where it flies. Come, Helen, come, give me my soul again. But when Helen kisses him, she asks forth his soul that was pledged to devil. It is implied that Helen and devil are no different beings. Faustus feels that because of the pleasure which Helen has given him, his soul has been brought out of his body. Come, Helen, come, give me my soul again. He thinks that he is actually seeing his soul outside his body, and he asks Helen to give his soul back to him. In order to get back his soul, he kisses her again. Dr. Faustus asks Helen to kiss him once more and return back his soul, as he feels that heaven lies in her lips and anything except her is waste. All is dross. Here will I dwell, for heaven is in these lips, and all is dross, that is not Helena. Faustus feels that to be in love with Helen, like Paris, the prince of Troy, and what he wants to do? He wants to sack Wittenberg in place of Troy. So we are going to take these lines again, and all is dross, that is not Helena. He feels that only Helen's body is precious in his eyes. Everything else is worthless. Dross means worthless matter. Now, in the further lines, what Dr. Faustus talks about, I will be Paris, and for love of thee, instead of Troy shall Wittenberg be sacked. It was the if we look at the Greek myth, it was a Trojan prince Paris who carried off Helen from her home in Greece, or who abducted Helen from her home in Greece to his native city of Troy, which was ultimately burnt to ashes by the Greek warriors because they attacked Troy to get back Helen. Foster says that he will, like Paris, I will be Paris, and for love of thee, like Paris, become Helen's lover, even if his love for her leads to the city of Wittenberg being burnt to ashes. Be sacked means burnt to ashes. And I will combat with weak Menelaus. What he is going to do? He will combat, he will fight against Helen's weak husband Menelaus, and after winning a victory over him, he will wear her color on his helmet. It refers to the medieval knights to wear their ladies' colors. Plumed crest means a helmet decorated with a feather. Yea, I will wound Achilles in the heel. Further, Foster goes on to say that he will aim an arrow at the heel of Achilles and inflict a mortal wound on him. Who was Achilles? Achilles was a Greek warrior. He was invulnerable except in the heel. Paris shot an arrow aimed at the Achilles' heel. Achilles died of the wound thus caused. Faustus says that for the sake of Helen, he will equal Paris's exploit in killing Achilles. Yea, I will wound Achilles in the hill and then return to Helen for kiss. Foster regards Helen's beauty. He says that he will again return to Helen for a kiss. In the further lines, O thou art fairer than the evening air. Now in the further lines, he compares her fairness, Helen's fairness, to the evening air. He regards Helen's beauty as being greater than the beauty of the evening air, which become lustrous on account of the numerous stars shining in the sky. Helen is brighter than, clad in the beauty of 1,000 stars, brighter art thou than flaming Jupiter. He further says that she is brighter than Jupiter when he appeared before Semele. Helen is brighter than Jupiter was when that God appeared in all his glory to his beloved Semele. More lovely than the monarch of the sky, and more lovelier than the sun god Apollo. Monarch of the sky, sun god Apollo in stretched blue arms of Arethusa, in wanton Arethusa's azure arms, and none but thou shalt be my paramour. He says that Helen is more beautiful than the sun god Apollo when he was enjoying the pleasure of love in the arms of water nymph Arethusa. Marlowe here seems to have invented a myth. He imagines that Arethusa, a water nymph, was in love with Apollo, the god of the sun. So he compares Helen's fairness to the evening air and considers her more beautiful and brighter than Jupiter when he appeared before Semele, and lovelier than sun god Apollo in stretched blue arms of Arethusa. He wants Helen to be her secret love. So, and none but thou shalt be my paramour, my secret love. This 20-line poem is written in perfect blank verse. Now I am going to talk about some of the literary devices used in the poem. The poet has made use of alliteration in the lines, like in the third line, make me immortal. Poet has made use of alliteration. We can say the sounds m, and m. Then in give me, then in we can say in the fifth line, give me my soul. Then further, if we move to the end of the poem, there's a line, brighter art thou then, in the sounds the. Then in second last line, that is, Arethusa's is your arms, and sound of and Then we can say the poet makes use of simile in the lines. Simile is a comparison by the use of word like and as. Like and as and then. Fairer than evening's air. The poet compares the beauty of the Helen to the evening air. He says that she is compares her fairness to the evening air and considers her more beautiful and more beautiful. Brighter art thou then. He again, brighter art thou then. He makes use of simile, where he says that she is brighter than Jupiter when he appeared before simile. Then more lovely than the monarch of the sky. He says that the poet says that describing the beauty of the Helen, that she is lovelier than sun god Apollo stretched in the arms, blue arms of Arethusa. Then poet makes use of metaphor, that is again a comparison, but that is an implied comparison in the lines, for heaven is in these lips. He compares for heaven is in these, he feels that heaven lies in her lips and anything except her is waste. I will be Paris, clad in the, next he makes use of metaphor in the clad in the beauty of thousand stars. Then the poet makes use of imagery. He create images in the mind of the readers. For example, for the brighter art thou than the flaming Jupiter, when he appeared to hapless simile, more lovely than the monarch of the sky, in wanton Arethusa's azure arms. Then there is an use of another literary device, that is called as hyperbole. Hyperbole means overstatement or exaggeration. I will combat weak Menelaus. So we can say the use of myth and legend in the poem is integral to his thought and contribute to the music and melody of the verse. It reveals Malov's fondness for the music that can be wrung from proper names, and his skill in this respect is seen abundantly throughout in the poem. There is clarity in Malov's diction. He is neither rhetorical nor obscure, but speaks with a bright and lucid simplicity. Many of his lines are woven around words of everyday speech, often a sequence of, he had made use of monosyllables. Like we can give the example of line, her lips sucks forth my soul, see where it flies. So this is all about the poem, The Face That Launched 1,000 Ships by Christopher Marlowe. So this 20-line poem written in blank verse is a celebrated speech of Dr. Faustus, which echoes the poetic genius of Christopher Marlowe. Thank you.